It's August 1st. Every recording I do is done with the intention of posting. There are videos that I have not released before, and I ultimately just trust that I do the right thing. Like, I put it in God's hands, and to ultimately just take away my questions, take away my ego, my irrational mind with regards to these videos, and do what I am intended to do. That being said, because this is a person that I hadn't thought that I was ever going to do a video on, I don't watch TV, I don't keep up with who's who in the media, and even with like pop culture, I'm not well versed in that either. There are two people that I specifically remember from over a decade ago now, when I used to have cable. I would just leave the TV on every now and then, and it was Don Lemon and Brian Stelter. I remember those names. And Brian Stelter has been coming up into my awareness for a couple weeks now, and I ignored it. Honestly, the only reason I feel like I kind of remember both of them is because they're both like cute to me. I think that Brian kind of looks like a groundhog, like in a good way, in a cute way. So I don't know if that's why I just remember him. I don't know what the significant, maybe it's just by chance, I don't know. But it's just, it's his name, his last name I kept switching with Stelter, and it was bringing me to Helter Skelter, which I recognize as a term. I don't know what it means. I associate it with Halloween for some reason. I guess because I knew it was like kind of a spooky term. So this morning it was just bothering me. It was bothering me. And so I looked up Helter Skelter. Well, actually, I looked up Skelter. And then it brought up Helter Skelter. And evidently it's a movie. And the Beatles had released a song called Helter Skelter that Charles Manson was obsessed with. All of this I wasn't aware of. I don't even listen to the Beatles. I'm a Herman's Hermits kind of gal myself. But all this, I'm just kind of trying to explain to you guys like what was going on in my mind. So I decided I'm just going to sit down and record this and see what happens. Why I'm being drawn to this, and I feel his energy. I guess I would feel his aura. That's not really something I say, so, but that's kind of how it feels, is like his, okay, I have this, okay, so like, this is how it looks to me in my mind, is like, here's Brian, and then here's like this energetic field surrounding him, right? It's kind of like a bubble, a protection. It's not necessarily a protection bubble, it's just it's like the atmosphere, right? It's like the energy that you give off before you exit into space like that, you know, like Earth has this field, right? And so right here, and then everything outside of the bubble is more of, it's more in line with spirit. It's another realm. It's not another realm. It's not another reality. It's the opening. It's the, it kind of would, I would say it would be it would be like what people say is 5D, I guess. But even 5D feels so limited to me. It's just what's reality, like spiritual reality of things. Like if you could visualize the energies of the entities surrounding and dictating and trying to penetrate this atmosphere of Brian, right? Which these entities don't represent themselves as anything but energy itself. Everyone reads as energy. It's the rational mind, like my rational mind, that tries to conceptualize what they are by using like any sort of frame of reference I may have as a person, and then whatever frame of reference I have of like the historical reference of who I am as a soul. So right now I'm not looking at them necessarily as anything but their energy, which is poor. Like it's low energy. And his field is gray, actually. It's gray like this. It's neutral. It's you know, repelling light, absorbing the dark. It's absorbing. Intentionally absorbing. It's like a feedback loop. So that's what I see. So this is all happening as I was setting up the camera. And I have wind chimes. And there's a certain tone that the wind chimes started going. And they started setting off tones, and there was a certain tone that started ringing in my ear from the wind chime, and it reminded me of tinnitus. And I associate tinnitus with, like, spiritually speaking, this is not like everyday stuff, but in spirit, what I associate that with is evil. I associate it with evil because when you have these energetic interferences, 5G, these radio frequencies that exist here in the world, it's very distracting to your energy, like your human body, right? The processes of the human body. A lot of cancers can be caused from that, supposedly. Just like even your mind, you don't have clarity of mind as well as you would without these influences. Depression, all of that stuff is associated with it. And so, and you can see this difference. I'm saying this because this is all somehow connected, because it was spirit, my guardian angels, trying to communicate something as I'm talking it out. So it associated me with disasters, natural disasters. And if you've ever been in any disaster area, when everything's wiped out, it sounds so different. It sounds so completely different because everyone's not running off their phones if it's not working. All of the houses and the Wi-Fi and everything's not working. It's limited, right? There's still frequencies occurring and reaching that vicinity, but it's not as many as when everyone's there and running all of their different systems, right? It's so quiet. And I was being, it was like this vision of like washing it, kind of like washing the disaster zone, like washing it clean, like cleansing it, I don't know if it was symbolically, energetically cleansing it. It was more of just saying, in these moments of disaster, in these moments of extreme interference, something can come through and completely decimate it beyond what is structurally created, right? All of these things, these interferences, I'm talking, this is a metaphor for what's happening with him. And if you read the description below and you're new here and you're still watching and it's confusing as to why below it says that I am speaking to Brian, I'm just winging it. I'm just seeing what's coming up. So if I start switching over and saying you or whatever, then I'll hopefully try and remember and clarify that I'm speaking to Brian in this. But anyway, so what I see as a metaphor is we could build and build and build and create what we intended to happen in our lives, or we intended to do what we want. And yet there is a higher being or a higher energy that can wipe it all clean. And in the moment, it may, like during that breakdown, it may feel very scary. You may feel unsure, you may feel stressed, you may feel like all of the work that you've put in is all for nothing at that point. You're left with nothing, you're stripped of everything. And yet that community, that sense of community that happens after a disaster with the people around you, the appreciation of the little things, the appreciation of life itself, the appreciation of those who reach out, those outreach programs that come in and help in these, disaster relief programs. And the sense of clarity in your mind is incredible. And it's something that you can rarely escape from in this world today. It's a rarity that some people will never even experience. And so there's a lot of good, there's a lot of blessing in it. Because it's almost like a mental refresh. I'm seeing like someone who just keeps going through life towards their goals, not really thinking of the possibility that this disaster could happen, and not really realizing how unhappy or I'm seeing unkempt. The word I'm seeing is unkempt. As if you Brian, so I'm switching over a little bit, like you Brian, you feel as if you don't have a home. You feel empty. You feel like your sense of family is built on the idea of what you thought that family should be, or you thought that things, like riding on the expectations of society, riding on the expectations of other people, rather than discovering for yourself what that means for you. What does family mean to you? What was I keep saying economy, but it's not economy. It's like environment, like something that's an E word, maybe associated with economy, but it's maybe economy meaning your like like a reference to your financial state, Brian. Or following what other people said about the economy, since you're a host. Something like that, where it's you're listening. So I fully switched over right now to speaking to Brian. So it's like you're listening to other people on what to say, what to do, how to feel, and you are going and going and going and going. And that's creating this negative feedback loop. It feels codependent, wrong. It's like a tick on you, like feeding off of you. It's not codependent because you're not dependent on them. It's a perception that you may have that you're dependent on it because you're creating an obstacle for yourself, in the sense that you're making an issue where there is a non-issue, meaning you're applying your ego to the situation when in truth the consequence of changing course, or the consequence of backing out of something, the consequence of saying, okay, enough is enough, like I'm gonna do what I feel is gonna help me pursue happiness, I'm gonna pursue what I feel fulfilled in, I'm gonna pursue like discovering myself, because it doesn't even necessarily, it feels like a stress inside of you, this internal stress of saying, I feel different inside. I feel like this is absorbing too much of my energy. This is too much. And I feel an emptiness inside of me that is driving me. It's almost distracting you, and it's driving you into another desire in life. And it feels like you're starting to live two worlds. It's starting to feel like your internal world is something totally different than your external environment. And your external environment is truly vampirically attached to you. It's very evil. It's very bad. And I actually meant to mention this. So I have a section of my library of like evil. It's esoteric stuff. You know, I represent it as evil because it's about Satan and demons and all of this stuff, right? All of which I actually have not gotten to. And then I also have a lot of religious texts and biblical texts. Well, the same thing, but just to specify, because there's another area, but it's also splayed around of more enlightened stuff. And again, all of which I have not actually read through at all, or read at all, which I explained in other videos. I will get to that, but I need to tell you everything that I see first before I add on and see like what other people say. I need to figure it out for myself. And so I had this image and like this thought. It was like, I say both because it's different. It's different than seeing an image and then like my own thought of this. And then I almost did it when I was like being absent-minded. I was moving stuff around as I was setting everything up. Of taking these like evil, I'll just say like it's like I have stuff, Aleister Crowley stuff I got after I did the Aleister Crowley video, and I was like, oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll finish that sentence. I wanted to learn more about him after I did that video. And so I got some of his stuff, and I was eventually going to get to it, and I almost put it on top of a Bible. And that was the image that I kept getting too, of like covering the Bible, which is another symbol I see as you can only like shelter yourself from your truth. You can only shelter yourself from your soul, your enlightened, pure soul. You cannot remove it. That's not reality. That's not true. No matter how dark of a path you go, no matter how dark of an entity you are, which human beings are not going to be, it is just not possible for you to be that evil. It cannot exist. These entities that are beyond here, they possess a soul as well. As I talked about in the demons video, some of them don't even exist, but the ones that do, they're still a creation of God. They're aware of this, but they're trying to ignore it. You can deny it and deny it and deny it, but that doesn't mean that that's not true. Like, just because you deny something doesn't mean that it's untrue. So there's something here where you're just denying your inner truth. And it has a lot to do with what's going to make you feel spiritually relieved. It's going to make you feel at ease. It's an obstacle that you had set up for yourself. No. Wrong. It's an obstacle that is being set up against you from a past life. Like, as you were, there's an interception that happened as you were incarnating here. And it's not at birth, it's not after birth, it's like prior to birth. I see this channel, this energetic channel of you transferring into this reality. The process of that, like it's almost like this like lowering of your frequency in order to exist here. So it's like as you were going there was an interception. There was interception, and you kind of like turning towards it, like looking, like observing, and that caused a temptation. Like that caused it's like a faded human interaction, like a faded change here that exists now, because that happened prior, on the spiritual side of things. Because it's kind of like what happens is with evil, when you acknowledge it, when you associate with it, when you entertain it at all, then that's kind of that moment, like a bigger moment for them, evil, to be like, okay, we might have an opportunity, and they come in like full force here and there, and then kind of like it. To me, I can equate this to an addiction, right? Like, you're addicted to something, you become sober, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you have some sort of like trigger that makes you want to use out of nowhere. Or you can associate it with, anyway, that's enough associations. You get what I'm saying. So it's like that. But what I see is this climbing motion of you associating with darkness, and it's not necessarily in the extremities, okay? It's more of going against what you truly like feel in your heart, right? Going against your intuition and following ego or following societal norms, following, which is a good thing. Like, we need people to adhere to certain societal norms to have a functioning society. But I'm saying beyond that, you were again working on the backs of other people's expectations, whether this is familial expectations, the people around you, like your associates, whether it's your school people, like this desire to be somebody, this desire to be known as something, this desire for things that in truth, on the spiritual truth, do not matter, right? Those things do not matter. And what matters is internally what you're doing to cultivate that light within you in order to really, truly not just break yourself away from the heaviness of this world, the evil of this world, the disguise, like it's a disguising of your soul, but in turn that helps enlighten other people, right? Because if you're following that, if you're following the darkness, then the majority of it is kind of allowing people to follow that as well. Like you're carving the path of least resistance to darkness. You see what I'm saying? Which that's not always true, because it will be turned around into something light, and sometimes that kind of instance, whatever kind of crossing of paths with you. I'm mentioning all of this because I do see these different associations happening with you, where you serve an example for people of, I don't want to be like that. I can read how unhappy he is. I can read how miserable he is. I can read that he's not passionate. Like it's not true passion. It's almost obsession, or just like, it's ego. It's like, I'm hearing like dirty ego, dirty path, or like just not good. I won't go as extreme as saying like psychotic or anything like that. But like that's some people's perceptions of you. And that kind of taught them, like, that's not something that I want in my life. So I see that as like your climb. It's a steady, slow progression. But then this instance that I'm talking about, there's like this major temptation that's coming in right now, where you're living two worlds and you're feeling split, because you're like, this is not originally like the path that I had been going down. I'm having an awakening. I'm having an awareness of who I truly am and where I want to be. And I think there's a part that's like, it's scary. I'm representing this as a cliff. This is a cliff. And it's scary because on one hand, you feel very youthful. You feel very nude. You feel very, like, I don't even know where to begin. I don't know what to think. I don't know where to start. And your ego trying to tempt you to not even try, because there's that concern or fear. Like, I've gone this long and I'm this particular age, that how do I start all over again? And if I do, I feel kind of silly doing that, because like there's so, like it's a comparison. There's so many other people ahead of me that get it. And I don't really want to reveal myself and show like vulnerability. I don't want to be vulnerable and show people that I'm so far from, like I'm so new. Like, you know, I just don't get it. Like that's embarrassing to you, when the whole journey like is a vulnerable journey and it isn't meant to be embarrassing. So it feels like here where I represented Brian, like Brian is getting stronger. that inner light is getting stronger. It's that resistance at the cliff. It's like these demonic entities trying to push you off the cliff, like just go, just go, just go, just go, just go. Because when you take whatever this opportunity is here, when you jump off that cliff, you can't go back. Realistically, in this reality, in this life, you will not be able to climb back up. It's gonna take what I'm hearing is it's you won't even come back to this world. You're gonna go to some other reality, and you're gonna have to basically like work from there. It's kind of like slave labor is what I'm hearing. It's like that, equivalent to that, where you were by slave labor I mean in prison. Like, you know, when people are in prison and they do labor in these other countries, maybe here too, but anyway, it's like that spiritually that I see would happen. And I don't know what this is. This, only you would know what that jumping off the cliff moment is for you. It's something that you're really struggling with, because your spirit is saying, no, I don't want to do that. That's not my truth. That's not what I desire. This path, this slow climb up, that was part of your journey. That was part of your soul lesson or life in this lifetime. That is true. But this temptation that came in, everything is honestly happening in divine order. That I do believe. But that doesn't absolve you from like taking action, right? Like, things have to happen. You can't just I don't like saying it, because then I don't say it in a clear way, I don't feel. And the point that I'm getting is these entities would not have come in so strongly at this moment, this cliff diving moment, had you not entertained them spiritually. It's like this remembrance, like this, whether you're consciously aware of this or not, and I don't feel you are. Whether you're into all of this, like, other kind of religious practice or not, I don't know. Possibly. But the entity itself, the way it would represent in a physical, like, mental representation, you do not see. You do not see it. It's too spiritual, like, it's too much on the spiritual side for you, that because it's an interesting balance. It's like, okay, even though you're super low vibrational, no offense, but even though you're really low vibrational, that's one of the many cruxes. I mean, that's not obviously the only crux, but one of them is that you cannot fully, the evil cannot reveal themselves, like the most evil of evil. So as the goal, the overall goal, going back to demons and all these other videos that I released, like past videos, as they try and lower the energy of this reality, of this world, they want to rise up these demons and rise up the imaginative forces that they are creating through negativity. But the destroyer himself, the evil himself, will not be seen. It cannot be seen unless you are high vibrational enough. So you have to raise your vibration in order to reveal the evil. It's like pulling the cloth off of the evil, pulling the cloth off of the Bible. The metaphor that I saw, it's like that then you can reveal the truth. You can see them, because it's like they're so deep in spirit, like in the spiritual world, they're so like hidden, because they're I don't know, it's like their absence is so pure. Like it's not pure, not in the good sense, but like clean in the bad sense. Like there's no I'm trying to think of the word. The word I'm saying is like, what I'm seeing is like the speckles in a rock. Like it doesn't, or a jewel, like the clarity, right? Like it has these little fractures in it, these little speckles in it. And those speckles are more on like the realized sense, the enlightened sense, right? They're more tempted to be good. Do you see what I'm saying? I know I'm being clear, but the way I'm saying it, I'm not content with. But you get what I'm saying. They're just too. Yeah, you get it. So I'm gonna take a break. I'm just gonna sit here in quietness, because that was my intention after I explained the beginning part, and then this just came to me. So I want to stick to that at least, and just sit here for a moment and try and get some constructive information for you, Brian, because I said so. Okay. Please be careful, Brian, of your next actions. And it feels like things that you have just started doing recently, within the past couple months. You need to be very careful. Weigh your options, think about everything first. Stay away from impulsive action. Stay away from thinking that you can retract what you do like you've done before. Because there is a huge warning that you're going to deeply, deeply, deeply regret it. It feels like you're serving something up. What I see is like, okay, this is the vision I see, is you are a server on a boat, on a ship, and you are serving this platter up to the captain. And what happens is the captain like turns the wheel, and everything slides back down, and it's like immediately falls all over you, and the boat is rocking, and it's like you meet your demise because of what you impulsively serve up. If you do that, and it's going to be very fast. It's like you're going to see the immediate negative results of your actions or inactions in whatever this is. It's like your luck has caught up to you, or like your chances, opportunity after opportunity. This is it. This is the final moment. And understand, like the advice I'm seeing is, you are meant to have a life worth the struggles that you endure. Your guardian angels are coming in to say, what we want you to know is that your trust in us, your trust in a righteous journey will never be misplaced. It will never be misguided or misplaced. We aren't guaranteeing that things are going to always be in balance. We aren't going to guarantee that things aren't going to be always happy, but what we will guarantee is that we are always working on your side. We are always going to help you. We are always going to assist you. We are always going to make sure that what happens is going to best serve you and your life and your world and those around you that you care about and beyond. And we need you to look at your experiences in a different light. We need you to look at everything that you learned, everything that you've done, and all the people that you've associated with, and all the things that you've dabbled in as strengths, as having fortitude, having strength, having experience, having a wider awareness than other people would be at if you started the path that we're asking you on now. Your advantage is the fact that you were on the other side of things. Your advantage is that you do know what that's like. It's like having street smarts. You have a different mindset. You have a different, the way that you can contribute is very unique. And you have to be able to believe in us and not give up when things start getting tough, and look at things long term. Don't look at the short term and impulsively just go towards those immediate gratification or immediate satisfaction or immediate it's that feeling of ease. You want to feel at ease. It's because it's not feeling at home. It's not feeling safe. It's just kind of a relief, temporary relief. So they're saying don't surrender. Don't surrender yourself. Don't surrender your soul. Don't surrender to this, because you know that it will never be fulfilling. Go towards that distraction within you, that powerful distracting force that's part of your soul that's pulling at you to say, go down this difficult terrain. Go down it, because the more that you journey it, okay, so I'm seeing Moses. I'm hearing this, okay, I'm a little shy to say this because I'm not sure I'm gonna be wrong. Since this is, I'm just seeing, I'm seeing the story of Moses, which I'm not familiar with other than he parted the sea. So what I'm seeing is that Moses has had it all. They're saying, your guardian angels are communicating this. They're saying to use the story of Moses as a strength for you, to always refer back to the story of Moses, where he had it all. My throat is starting to really close up. And so I feel this is you. I feel this is you, with the throat closing up, the feeling of being shy that I may be wrong, which if you watch my other videos, I don't care if I'm wrong. So I think this is how you feel in these instances of like, what if I'm wrong? It's okay. So I'm just gonna say it and I'll see. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll learn from it, right? There's some reason. There's a deeper reason for this. So I see the story of Moses. Your guardian angels are saying Moses had it all. He could have easily ignored his inner calling. He could have easily not done anything. He could have just lived his life as like royalty if he wanted to. He was an intelligent man. He was an amazing man. He was incredible. He was well liked by people. He just had it all. It was very simple for him. And he was older. He was an older guy, and he had this inner calling, this inner vision in him that he had to do this. He had to do it. And again and again and again, ego could tell him, and ego had told him, you're crazy. You don't have to do it. Everything's comfortable. Everything's safe. Why take that journey? Why do that? For what? How does that help me? Am I going to help? Am I going to even be able to do it? And he did it. He believed. He surrendered. He surrendered to his inner calling, and he went for it. And people doubted him. The people around him doubted him, and even believers in him doubted him, because it took him so long to do it. It's like they're just waiting away and said, you know what? I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew something was going to happen to him. I knew he was going to change his mind. I knew he wasn't going to do it. I knew he was a liar. There's so many doubters, and it was all within them. They were doubting because all different reasons. They didn't believe in themselves. They didn't believe that anyone would do that. They didn't have faith that something something like someone would have it in them. They didn't think anyone would have the gusto to do that. And also people who would think, well, if I were Moses, I wouldn't do it either. I would not do it. People didn't have that strength. So always go back to the journey of Moses, of who he is, of what he represented, of what he had, of what he sacrificed, of what he endured. Because he followed his inner compass. He believed in his inner self. He believed that he had to do this. And it was all purely based on faith. Purely based on faith. And I'm hearing he was an intellectual man. He was an intellect. And many times the intellectual mind tries to grapple with the spiritual mind. The ego tries to grapple with it, but the ego is so shallow. It's so shallow. It's so shallow. We're just trying to make sense of things, right? We're trying to create a narrative for things that exist in this world, because we forgot the process of our becoming of a human being is forgetting our spiritual sense. That's part of the journey for us to actually, if you knew who you were in spirit, you would not have done some of the things that you've done. You would have not climbed the path that you did. You would not be grappling the way that you are now. But because you're at this part, that's when it kicks in. That memory kicks in, that inner calling kicks in, the truth of who you are kicks in. Your guardian angels, they're all saying, listen, 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 stop. Stop right now. Stop right now. Do not be impulsive. Do not jump off the cliff. Think of the long distance back. Think of that long journey back. Think of the journey that Moses took. Represent that within yourself. Represent yourself as Moses, this intellectual man who could have looked at everything and could have grappled with everything and said, you know what, there's a reason why I feel this way. There's a reason why I have this emptiness inside, like a, you know, maybe I need more things, or maybe whatever, you know, you try and just like, maybe it's a biological response to something else, when in truth, it's a spiritual response. So keep that in mind. And I'm hearing to like research Moses and focus on Moses. And they're saying for me to do that too. Which I will. I just have more videos I need to record before I jump into all of that. But they're saying you will see. That's what they're saying. You will see. You will see. Don't forget the spirit of Moses. Don't forget the journey of Moses. That will give you the strength. That will give you what you can fall back on that. You know, that will give you what you need to endure this journey. Like you can always count on us. You can always count on us. You can always believe in us. And their final message is that they love you and they miss you. That's what I'm hearing, is like, we love you and we miss you. And that you're doing so good. You're doing so good. It's just this last, like this last thing, this final thing. Like this is it. This is the moment. So yeah, I guess I'll release this video. It sounds important to me. Not that it matters whether it sounds important to me or not, really. That's not for me to decide. So it's the 1st. What day is it? Monday, I believe. I'll release it on the 3rd. So that's it, you guys. That's it, Brian. Hope this helps someone out there. And bye. Alright, if you are still watching, I felt like I should go ahead and do it. So I pulled this old Reader's Digest book, Who's Who in the Bible, and I pulled up Moses. So if you want to read, I'm not going to read this out loud, but this is what I'm going to start reading. So I'll just hold this here and you can pause the video and read for yourself in case you want to read exactly what I'm reading. Let me see. Hopefully it's going... Maybe you can screenshot it and then zoom in. So it starts here, down. Okay. Let me make sure you're all the way in here. Maybe, let me zoom back out. Sorry, you guys. Okay. And this is what I'm going to read about him. I'm excited to find out more about Moses myself. So, see, I'm making effort. Bye.